record on this computer is good. So here we are. Hello, I'm Harry Watt at North Carolina State University Wood Products Extension. I'm with Brian Turlington of SII Dry Kilns of Lexington, North Carolina. They're a longtime manufacturer of firewood dry kilns. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, Harry, how are you today?
Good. We're going to talk about firewood baskets that go into dry kilns. Can you help us with that?
I certainly will try.
Okay. Well, the drying process is getting wood in those baskets, getting them in the kiln, running the cycle, and bringing them out. If you would, tell us about the science and the thoughts behind basket design.
Well, you want to make something that's durable, something you can handle very easily with forklift, loader, whatever equipment you're using, and something that can withstand randomly dumping off of a conveyor or a front end loader or whatever. So it's traditionally made of carbon steel, expanded metal, so you can allow the air to flow through it. Just a quick word about the math. 200 cubic feet per cord is the maths. 128 in wood, 72% in air, or the figures. So you break that down in a couple different ways. Quarter cord basket would have 50 cubic feet, half cord 100, full cord 200 cubic feet.
I've seen baskets in different configurations. Some of them were tall, some of them were wide. Some people take they make their own with not chicken wire, but the like a 6x6 or 4x4 wire. There's lots of configurations out there, but the baskets are very important.
Absolutely, and matter of fact, it could be the most important thing because of the logistics. I think you and I had talked about before. Handling is the biggest obstacle for any firewood producer. They want to handle it as few times as possible.
Well, a couple things. You may have some insight on loading the baskets. I've seen people drop it in coming off the conveyors from the processors. I've seen people dump their wood and then they come back with a skid steer and then they try to dump it in with a funnel going into the baskets. What's your opinions on how to load the baskets?
I think what I've seen the best practice probably is off a conveyor. I mean, I've seen people do it with a front end bucket or whatever, and you tend to get some residual dropping out. You have to pick those up off the ground. I think probably the most consistent way to do it is probably with a conveyor system.
Well, I got a question. I've seen people do that, and then I see them shake the wood down. Now, what do you think about that?
Just trying to get the best feel for those baskets as possible. Get as much in there to try to nest it. But I'm going to say that ultimately, I don't know that that's the ideal practice because you don't want to create a solid wall. You clearly want some area for air to migrate and heat to migrate through all of that. So I think just the randomly dumped off a conveyor probably handles what you need to do.
And I do see people, fill them up a little bit above the wire edges, and that doesn't seem to be a problem. The wood seems to settle as it dries.
Yeah, it's definitely going to settle over a charge of drying. Now, if that interferes with loading the basket on top of it, that could be an issue. But for most of it, you're going to see several inches of settling over a drying, whether it just falls in gaps but you're going to lose that water is going to help create that shrinkage, if you will.
Now, the baskets are an expense, but they do have a long life if you take care of them. But how many sets of baskets is ideal for a firewood operation?
I would say you would want to have a minimum of 2, one in the chamber, one preloaded. Because of the cycle time of drying, you're going to be able to turn that set that's not in the kiln outside of the kiln. And I think you had some pictures that demonstrated that, but I would say a minimum of 2 would be what I would do.
Well, let's see if I can get to my PowerPoint here and show some to this guy. Okay, why don't you take over?
Okay, So there, that would be a once again carbon steel tube framed basket with expanded metal. And you want to go, I think the expanded metal is number 9. That's going to give you big enough openings, but it's also going to be strong enough that you're not going to be doing a lot of damage over time. The other thing I think is critical here is the additional bracing we have in each one of those basically series of panels. You want enough bracing that you're not going to put enough weight to tear out the expanded metal. So this design has worked well for us. Sold a lot of them. But I will say this, there's not I don't think there's a ton of magic to a basket other than having the basket. You know, for the most part, you know, making it easy that you can set the ones, stack them, things like that.
Right. Now, this is a hinged door. You also make a one that does not have a hinged door. Is that correct?
That is correct. Some customers want to tip this forward with a loader or a forklift. Therefore, you have a hinged door to dump it out. Other folks are going to have a rotator on the forklift, or they're going to have some type of tipping mechanism that will flip this thing completely up to dump. Yep. So it can go either way. And the truth is, this one can stay shut. It just, you know, it just has the ability to swing open if you need it.
Okay. Well, let's look at some more actual pictures.
Yep. So there you see a set of baskets for that kiln. I think that's actually that's probably a full load right there to go in that kiln. They've got it staged out there. I think it was sitting there, and I think that was the first run for that actual kiln. So it had been in baskets sitting there on that paved area for some time, getting some natural seasoning. But then you simply take that and insert that into the kiln. So that amount of baskets should correspond with a full load for that kiln.
Very good. Looks like a very clean place, and like I say, it looks like a new kiln in the first run.
Yep.
What are we seeing here?
That's another kiln. That one's actually in Alaska, but that is loaded after they've loaded it up and put it in the kiln. I think they're ready to start a charge. They haven't lowered the horizontal baffles that come down in the front that allow you or force the air where you want the air to go. And I think you can tell by looking at those two baskets in the center on the mid row. I think they've got a different species of wood in them. You can see there's a lot smaller stuff. I don't know, maybe they're doing some starter wood or something like that along with some firewood, but something's a little different with those two baskets. But that unit there, when you look at it, 3 high, 4 wide, I believe they are 4 deep. Those are 1 cord baskets. So let's see here, 3. That'll hold about 36 cords of wood right there.
Very good. Very good. Let's look at the next slide.
This is them loading up the kiln. That was the same kiln we saw in the other picture with the baskets loaded outside. So that's that load getting in there. And as you can see, it's very uniform, baskets stacked on top of baskets. They're going to, ideally, you would come up. We have a false ceiling where the fans are above that. The air is created above, but it's going all through the product there. And you want to get within about a foot to 16 inches from that deck to get your best airflow.
Well, it's a real challenge to get air through there, and that's why over the years, dry kiln manufacturers like yourself have been increasing temperatures and airflow.
Absolutely, yeah. When we first started, we had people doing it with as little as, say, 3 horsepower motors, 9 horsepower total in the kiln. The second one that this company got has got 70 horsepower motors in it. So it's got 7 10 horsepower motors.
Well, that's incredible, but that's how you get the drying time down.
That is correct. Yep.
Anyway. Well, Brian, what else can we say about our baskets for firewood?
I think something that we touched on before, which is the really the design of the kiln is simply just to encompass the baskets. If somebody has a bunch of baskets that they've made that they use for seasoning, and they want to continue to use those, then certainly let me or any other manufacturer know, and we would design the kiln around it. That's really ideal way. That is the way that you would do it, and you want to do it to where we're not, say, 40 feet of baskets in a 47-foot kiln or something like that. We want to maximize our space.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for
Yep.
participating today in the National Firewood Workshop, and appreciate what you do at SII Dry Kiln. Thank you.
Harry, thank you.